The first marriage is the victory of passion over insight. The second is the victory of hope over experience. And the third is the victory of stubbornness over common sense. Seventh house is marriage, partnerships, interaction in everyday affairs, official relations. In such relations, there is no complete freedom. There are clearly defined rights and obligations. For love, this is the fourth house. He is responsible for feelings, emotions, and unconditional love. He shows that we will be in the family that we create. Therefore, when a person wants to know whether there will be a marriage for love or for convenience, along with the seventh house, you need to analyze the fourth. The 12th house is the house of the bed. Currently, many marriages are concluded through the bed. That is, first sex, then marriage. This house also indicates a guest and civil marriage. The 5th house is simply romantic relationships. The role of the ruler of the 7th house. The owner of the 7th house in the natal chart says how many marriages there will be, what relationships will be, whether they will be stable or changeable. If changeable, then how much? The ruler of the house shows how seriously a person takes relationships and marriage itself. And it shows that a person wants a relationship, what he is looking for. But here, well, it should not be confused with the fact that a person is looking for something in a partner. It is rather about what he wants in a relationship. Human attraction has three sources. The influence of all three drives generates love. The attraction of the mind breeds respect. The attraction of the soul breeds friendship. The attraction of the body breeds desire. In ancient Greece, the concept of love was divided into 7 constituent elements: agape, phileo, eros, storge, ludus, pragma, and mania. Agape love is sacrificial, selfless and demanding, sometimes reaching the point of self-denial. This is the most mature love because it is born in passion and develops into feelings. Filial love is a deep, tender friendship, sympathy, and spiritual intimacy, like a brother and sister relationship. Eros love is selfish love, unbridled, passionate, aimed at physical possession. This is about falling in love and idealizing a partner. Storge love is care, tenderness, even and constant marital feeling, mutual respect, help and support. There is no passion or emotion. Ludus love is a pleasant pastime. There are common interests. There is no jealousy or commitment, but there is a sense of competition. Love mania is like a disease, an obsession when the inability to get what you want is the strongest. A person arrives in different states from euphoria to depression. Pragma love, love by calculation or by exchange. You give me, I give you. Consciously or unconsciously, a person prefers one thing in a relationship. But when the 7th house is analyzed, one needs to understand what is valuable in a serious relationship and not in a relationship in general. At a young age, this is difficult to do without serious introspection, since the very concept of a serious relationship can be distorted due to inexperience or lack of an example. Earth signs need storge love, pragma love. They are looking for reliability and support, precisely from a financial position. Air signs need filial love, ludus love. In relationships, common goals, mutual interest, and respect for each other are important. Freedom in a relationship is the most important thing. Water signs need agape love. Self-denial and self-sacrifice are characteristic of Pisces. Of course, they suffer from this, but when the eyes are opened, they are able to move to a new level. In fact, they are looking for spiritual harmony, emotional intimacy, and therefore people can use them using their kindness. And fire signs need love eros, love mania. For Aries, it is important to seek a partner. This is the whole point of a relationship. I'll probably make another video for that, so now let's begin. Ruler of the 7th house in the 1st house, or 7th house in Aries. The topic of relationships is very important. There are no boundaries between yourself and your partner. Husband and wife can even look very similar in appearance. In such a relationship, there is a lot of everything and devotion and rivalry and exactingness, especially if the ruler is Mars, the Sun, or Jupiter. Marriage with such a position of the ruler is usually concluded at the initiative of the person himself, and if it is still a fire sign or an air marriage, it is concluded quickly and persistently. If the ruler is himself afflicted or simply weak, then the person perceives the partner as an enemy. In it, he sees his shortcomings and fights with them as with strangers. The separation is abrupt and irrevocable. The ideal partner is the one with the most similar lifestyle and interests, with whom there is an external resemblance, habits, and manners. A partner is like a mirror. There are times when a relationship can begin with a conflict. That is, it is not love at first sight, but with mutual interest in each other. The best places for dating are everything related to self-development, trainings, courses, sports clubs, educational institutions, and so on. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. So now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 2nd house, which is 7th house in Taurus. This provision indicates that money matters are not the last in marriage. If it is also an earthly element, then there can be no doubt. In a harmonious position, this is an indication of a rich and profitable marriage, of acquiring financial well-being through marriage. The options may be different. The partner himself may be secure, or a joint business will bring prosperity. If the ruler of the house is weak or afflicted, then marriage can lead to financial difficulties and losses. When choosing a partner, it is important to consider their values and plans for the future. This is especially true for the material side. If they do not match yours, then this is not your person, and it will not work to remake each other. Because for this person with a sweetheart in paradise in a hut is not suitable, and it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, a partner. If not wealthy, then at least it should be promising and have at least some resources. Therefore, business partners with whom there are common financial affairs are suitable for marriage. Also, a person can have a profession that is related to finance. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. So now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 3rd house, or 7th house in Gemini. This is a position that indicates the possibility of acquaintance with a spouse by correspondence, or the possibility of marriage with someone who has known since childhood, or with someone who lives in the neighborhood. Often in this case, acquaintance occurs through a marriage agency, dating sites, or any other intermediaries and acquaintances. Casual acquaintances on the street also often manifest themselves in this way. It is possible that relatives introduce a life partner. The disadvantage of the constellation is that it is a falling house, and it is very difficult to control the situation in marriage. The spouse can often be on the road outside the home and family. So the third house is Gemini. It can be difficult for a person to make a choice, especially if he has a strong first house. The partner can work in the media, sales, or engage in commercial activities. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 4th house, or 7th house in Cancer. For a person with this position, the creation of a family is a natural process. In choosing a partner, as a rule, parents help or parents can be the initiators of marriage. Also, with this position, a partner can move to live with you, and it doesn't matter if you are a man or a woman. This may be for various reasons. The simplest, a partner from another city. For a person with such a position, the meaning of marriage is family and children. The rest is secondary. Therefore, it is important that the partner is domestic and economic. The partner's profession can be in real estate, construction, agriculture, renovation, and so on. If the ruler of the house is struck, then family happiness is threatened precisely because of housing issues. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Now let's move on to 5th house. The ruler of the 7th house in the 5th house, or 7th house in Leo. This is a love marriage. This is exactly what many women dream of. When a romantic interest turned into marriage. And on the one hand, it's great when the relationship is built on love. But a partner can be amorous and love flirting. As a rule, these are creative people and love is an inspiration for them. A person with such positions appreciates courtship, beautiful courtship, incredible deeds in a relationship. This is not about insane fatal passion, but about passionate romance when everything starts with a deep, alluring look. And so it is important to remember that marriage kills romance, and if the 7th house itself is afflicted, it may be better to reconsider your views in relation to marriage. This provision also indicates that marriage with your lover or mistress is possible. Well, the most common case of marriage by pregnancy. The ideal partner is someone who has a common hobby with whom the partner may have a creative profession. Sometimes they have the same profession. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 6th house, or 7th house in Virgo. Marriage with a colleague at work or with a partner in a joint business, a common cause. But if the ruler is struck, then this often means a sickly spouse who will need help, or a spouse with a weak character. Also, this provision can be an indication of marriage with a person who is lower in social status. This may be a problem for others, but not for the person himself, who has such a position in the chart because he is sensitive and compassionate towards people. And therefore, serving a partner is not an obstacle to marriage, but rather a motivation. Professional partner may be related to medicine, or an acquaintance may come from a health situation, or it may be a work colleague. And also partners can be united by pets. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much. Now let's move on to the ruler of 7th house in the 7th house, or 7th house in Libra. This gives the desire to find a strong and bright partner who is able to take responsibility for pair relationships, which does not at all exclude active rivalry with him. If the ruler is defeated, partnership is very important here. But unlike the situation when the ruler of the 7th house is the 1st house, where a person himself looks for and finds marriage partners, here the picture is the opposite. They usually find him themselves. Marriage partner, famous or prominent person in our time at the time of dating, a partner may be married. For a person with such a position, marriage is like a reliable rear. A partner is an ally, friend, and support, and therefore preference is given to serious applicants. Acquaintance can occur at work through the conclusion of a deal, or a partner may turn out to be a client and even a competitor. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Now let's move on to the 8th house. Ruler of the 7th house in the 8th house. If the position is strong, then relationships built on a financial basis are not excluded. A person can be on the payroll of a partner. If this is a water or fire element, then sexual relations will play a big role in such a marriage. In addition, such a position may be a sign of the likelihood that the partner is engaged in dangerous, possibly illegal or marginal activities. If the position is strongly expressed in the horoscope and struck, this is one of the classic signs of losing a partner. If there is an indication of celibacy in the natal chart, then the person may generally deny any relationship. Some people are aware of the reasons for this desire. Some are not. With a disharmonious map, marriage can be a real problem for such a person. On the one hand, according to the 8th house, the choice of a partner in favor of adrenaline. On the other hand, constant stress is exhausting and can create many problems. This position must be used correctly in order to get the desired results from it. The meeting can occur with a difficult life period or even a moment of threat to life. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. So now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 9th house or 7th house in Sagittarius. This is one of the classic indications for marriage with a foreigner or a non-Christian and works especially well in our time. This position of the ruler is often found in the horoscopes of people who met through the internet or a marriage agency. But it can also be a sign that the spouse travels a lot, works in the legal field. Acquaintance can happen on a trip, a business trip, or at a resort. It is important that partners have the same spiritual values, but this does not mean that a person wants a routine and domestic marriage. On the contrary, there should be variety and adventure. Spiritual values fill marriage with meaning. Thank you so much for listening. That's all I have for you. Bye. So now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 10th house or 7th house in Capricorn. This indicates marriage with a person above himself in social status, a different social circle. If the position is very strong in the map, then with a famous, prestigious person, marriage is often the beginning of a joint business or joint activity. It can be a stepping stone in professional growth or the beginning of a path to fame. If the ruler is struck, then it will be the same. But with scandalous fame, a wide discussion of the relationship of the couple by the public, with a conflict between marriage relationships and parental opinion. In this situation, marriage is the foundation for life, and therefore a person chooses a partner with all seriousness, and this is one of the provisions indicating a marriage of convenience. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. So now let's move on to the ruler of 7th house in the 11th house, or the 7th house in Aquarius. This is a position that inclines towards civil marriage and non-formalized relationships. It can also mean marriage to a partner who already has a child or children from a previous marriage. Less common are cases when the marriage itself or the relationship is non-standard. For example, it is concluded according to a pagan rite or on atypical conditions. The same provision may be one of the indications of a fictitious marriage. A person with this position avoids official relationships and most often marries by accident. With a partner, first of all, it should be fun and interesting. There should be common dreams and plans for life. Therefore, acquaintance can occur in entertainment venues, in the company of friends, social networks, dating site. The partner's profession may be related to social activities, television, and IT technologies. The partner may be well-known and wealthy. I hope that you enjoyed this. That's all I have for you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye. Now let's move on to the ruler of the 7th house in the 12th house, or 7th house in Pisces. This shows that there are many hidden things in the relationship of partners. Perhaps even the marriage itself is secret or fictitious. The situation is generally difficult with additional indications of celibacy. It can give the absence of a stable relationship at all. It often happens that a person is in a secret relationship. For example, with a married person. And this is a significant obstacle to entering into an official marriage. It is also one of the indications of the loss of a partner. With an afflicted ruler, there is a chance to connect life with an unhealthy, problematic person with a difficult fate. In cases where this position is manifested positively, the relationship in marriage is usually hidden from the public. The marriage partner may himself try to keep a low profile. It is possible to get acquainted while traveling through spiritual practices, yoga, or in closed institutions. The activities of the partner may be related to helping those in need. Any planets in the 7th house indicate marital difficulties. And if they are also affected, the situation is aggravated. Nowadays, it is better to look not at the 7th house, but at the 12th house. And calculate the fall of the Lagna, which will tell about each subsequent relationship, plus analyze the gift of Karku. If there are no planets in the 7th house, this is very good. There is already a chance for a lasting marriage. If the 7th house is surrounded, planets in the 6th and 8th houses by malefics, this also indicates difficulties in marriage. since the 6th house is the 12th house from the 7th, and the 8th house by itself indicates the duration of the marriage. To analyze the 7th house, one must not only look at the planets that are in it and its ruler, but also at the aspects on it. It is necessary to analyze the ruler of the house, and all this tells not only about what the marriage will be like, but also what the partner will be like. But in addition to all this, you need to determine the karma of marriage. Jupiter points to it. So that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.